difference between the pro ranks and any other level. If it's high school, you can get rid of the players and go in a different direction because of the amount of players you may have at that school. All right. If it's college, it's the same difference. But in the pros, there are salaries connected to these players. And some of those players you're not going to be able to just get rid of because there's a culture change taking place. You're going to have to still keep a vast majority of those players. So when you say the culture change and the culture shock of bringing in a new guy, if that's leading to you playing this poorly, I don't know the difference between that culture that existed for the 10 years that Garrett was there and the culture that's coming with Mike McCarthy. But either way, it can't be considered perceived good and okay to move forward with.
Wow. He's definitely going to be there. His job is safe, and he's going to be there next year. Crazy. I didn't think you were the type to have a microwave mentality, Lavar, as much as you love
That's not microwave.
That's kind of fast. Microwave. That's kind of fast in the offseason. It is
fast.
Huh?
It's fast, but Marcellus, understand it from this perspective.
I'm listening.
It's not fast in the sense of if you've lost the locker room. Wins and losses, I'm not going to measure the success of the coach losing his job off of wins and losses. I'm measuring it off of if the players believe in that leadership and in that coach.
This team has been compromised. They don't even have their quarterback one or their quarterback two, but they're playing better of late. So that's not losing the locker room. That's gaining the locker. No, it's not just one game. It's two games. Even the Eagles game, you got to give respect to how they were forcing turnovers. The defense started to show up. And you see the special teams is starting to affect how they play. All those things are positives when you're building a culture. It's not a microwave. You got to bake it. It takes time. Let's talk about the time it takes to make a cultural shift when you look at Mike McCarthy. Let me remind y'all who Mike McCarthy is, since maybe y'all can't see underneath the mask. This is who Mike McCarthy is, who inherited a team that was 4-12. And you know what he did the next year? Well, let's go 8-8. Okay, not a winning team, but you know what? We're an average team. Next year, 13-3. 6-10, people say, oh, see, I told you should have got rid of them before. Oh, 11-5, 10-6, win a Super Bowl. It's a cultural shift. It takes time. And you know who knows it takes time? Jerry
Who wears
Jones.
Quarterbacks?
Jerry
Who wears quarterbacks?
Jones. Huh?
Who wears quarterbacks in all of those years?
Dak Prescott, a guy who was on a career year, NFL record-setting year this year before injury.
So what? He had Brett Favre.
I'm just saying.
He had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and great. And how do you make those names? You allow somebody an opportunity to grow with them. That's why Jerry Jones will stick with Mike McCarthy going forward.
I agree that he's going to stick with Mike McCarthy. I mean, like, how do you change the culture when you don't have the power to change the culture? Like, I mean, I don't care who the coach is.
There you go.
That ain't your point.
Why would you fire Mike McCarthy? You've never empowered him as the head coach anyhow. You never empowered Jason Garrett. Hell, you wouldn't empower Bill Parcells. So how the hell are you going to ever change a culture if the guy in charge of the organization has no power to change the culture? That's why the players are sniping in the media, you know, and won't put their names on it, sniping at the coaching staff because they're crying to their owner because they know the owner has never empowered anybody within that organization. So if I snipe enough, maybe the owner will get rid of a guy that's being tough on me or being hard on me. I don't care who the coach is. That organization is dysfunctional because the owner is the GM who thinks he should do radio twice a week and, you know, and talk to the media after every game. You know, we used to have a thing when I was in Denver winning championships. Owners write checks, right? Coaches coach and players play. That's the way it needs to operate, and that organization doesn't operate that way. So I don't care who the head coach is. You can bring in any head coach you want. You're not going to empower the guy, so what the heck does it matter?
Interesting there.
Bang, bang.
Well, we're having a different conversation right now. You're talking about Jerry Jones historically, and now we're going to say how's that going to affect Mike McCarthy in the present.
Well,
how it's going to affect him.
Mike McCarthy's not getting fired, Marcel. I don't believe he's going to get fired.
He's not getting fired, and he shouldn't get fired. Like, what kind of precedent will we set? Oh, in a compromised COVID season, let's fire a first-year coach who's a Super Bowl champion coach. And since you want to bring up quarterbacks, what has Aaron Rodgers won without Mike McCarthy? Yeah, sit over there quiet, Lavar Arrington.
He's come up closer than the Cowboys.
Look, this is Jerry Jones, who knows about patience, who knows that it takes time. Don't forget Jerry Jones when he purchased the Cowboys in 1989. What was their record? 1-15. Jerry Jones, look, you can't snipe the owner, but imagine if you could. That's the owner you would want to snipe. And Jerry Jones also knows that he's had coaches struggle and at least gave those guys 2 years. Chan Gailey, who was hovering around 500 or under 500 when you want to talk about Dave Campo. Dave Campo got 3 years, and his record was 15-33, and he still got 3 years with the Cowboys. Trust me, Mike McCarthy will be back to bake some more of this culture. Lavar, any words?
First of all, it said, should his job be safe regardless?
Yes, it should
Like,
be.
you guys are talking, oh, he's going to have his job. Oh, he's going to. I would stink on this one. He's destined to fail based upon the circumstances that he's been given. Although you're speaking as a former player who has an affinity for Uncle Jerry and all that stuff,
Why you say that?
Probably get cards during the holiday season. God, you're jumping out there so far. And the bottom line here is, as former players, the one thing you know for certain that you can take to the bank and cash in is if you lose the belief in your coach.
Oh, stop.
That now starts the beginning of the end. All I can do, I don't have no inside sources. I'm not Jay. Shout out to Jay. I'm not, well, it is what it is, but I can use common sense and I can see through what's being said in the media and what could be perceived as reality versus perception and not reality. And I think there's a very real issue here. Look at the lack of production from your franchise player. You didn't pay what your possible franchise player was asking for, and now he's out hurt. Now you're looking at a team that's dysfunctional and can't find a way to winning consistently. I don't have to read between too many lines. I can look at their performances and come to a strong conclusion that if they have lost belief in that coach, then you have to take a good hard look on if you're going to continue to have him lead your team. Bottom line.
I mean, I don't know another coach that had to go through COVID and lose their first-string quarterback and their second-string quarterback and be judged so harshly. And if you talk about Ezekiel Elliott,
I'm not saying it's harsh.
Well, if you talk about Ezekiel Elliott, he was struggling with Jason Garrett. What you gonna do? Just keep firing coaches until Zeke can run the football again? That's not happening. True. So you can't go there. Look, it's the same thing that happens with players. When you spend and splurge on someone in free agency, you get a big-time free agent, and he comes there, and maybe he struggles in that first year. You don't put him on a chopping block. You have a conversation with him. Hey, what you trying to do? How can we help you do it? Because next year we need to see more. That may be the conversation with Mike McCarthy, but he's not on the chopping block. Are you kidding me? He got big money. He's the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to get an opportunity to go out there.
I've seen it happen, Marcellus.
Win a level playing field.
I've seen it happen.
And then get it done. What? Oh, it happened to you? It didn't happen to coaches?
Marty Schottenheimer was one hell of a coach for us.
I played for him.
And would have turned our culture around and turned it into what it needed to be. And because there were enough old head players that did not want to do Marty ball, they got rid of him. I'm just saying, the power of players that don't believe in a coach, especially in an organization where the players have direct access to the ownership, will dictate what takes place with that coach.
Well, I played for Marty, and let me just say, any coach that still was running the Oklahoma drill in the 2000s, I wouldn't want to play for him either way. Wins or losses, but that's not what Mike McCarthy's over there doing in Dallas, so let's get that straight. Coming up, Tua has won 2 straight